Silence! I'll not listen to anything you say. Now be gone! Still here. But that's always worked before. I close my eyes, but you are still here when I open them. Don't blame me for being cautious. The voices, the images, so real. Did Gregor send you? How? How did you get here? Good. Kill Aldred. Kill them all for what they've done. They caged us like animals, looked for ways to break us. I'm the only one left. They turned some into monsters and... there was nothing I could do. To think, I once felt pity for the Circle. Now I'd like nothing more than to wipe their taint off the face of Thedas. Only mages have that much power at their fingertips. Only mages are so susceptible to the infernal whisperings of the demons. Yes, some fought back. But even they are lost now. Aldred has them. They are in the harrowing chamber. The sounds coming up from there. Oh, Maker. He's doing something to them. I can feel it. Something horrible.
His hatred of mages is so intense. The memory of his friends' deaths is still fresh in his mind.
You have to end it now, before it's too late. Are you really saving anyone by taking this risk? To ensure this horror is ended, to guarantee that no abominations or blood mages live, you must kill everyone up there. That is your choice to make, but I beg you to consider what I have to say. You cannot tell Maleficarum by sight. Just one could influence the mind of a king, of a grand cleric. I am just willing to see the painful truth, which you are content to ignore. But what can I do?
Has it considered the fact that ridding the world of these mages might be of benefit? The Templars will still help with its war. Why make things difficult? These mages could use some crushing. That's what I say. Well, maybe not. But it would be remarkably satisfying. Doesn't it agree?
As you can see, I am in no position to directly influence your actions, though I would love to deal with the mages myself. Don't waste time on me. Deal with Aldred, if that is what you plan to do. Once he is dead, I will be freed. No one ever listens. Not until it's far too late. Maker turn his gaze on you. I hope your compassion hasn't doomed us all.
The gift that I offer.
Look what we have here. An intruder. I bid you welcome. Care to join in our revels? Oh, very observant. I'm quite impressed you're still alive. Unfortunately, that must mean you killed my servants.
Naturally, you're not frightened of us at all. Oh, no.
Oh, well, they are probably better off dying in the service of their betters than living with the terrible responsibility of independence. We needn't fixate on who killed whom. That doesn't help our relationship. A mage is but the larval form of something greater. Your chantry vilifies us, calls us abominations, when we have truly reached our full potential. Look at them. The chantry has them convinced. They deny themselves the pleasure of becoming something glorious. Isn't that right? Tell our friend how much happier you are now.
It is a beautiful gift you have given us.
See? It would be so much easier if they all simply accepted it and opened their hearts to me. But some people can be so stubborn. And what good did that do? I still won. I even have the first enchanter on my side, don't I, Irving?
Stop him. He is building an army. He will destroy the Templars, and...
You're a sly little fox, Irving, telling on me like that. And here I thought he was starting to turn.
Never!
That's enough out of you, Irving. He'll serve me eventually, as will you. I serve no one. No, I have plans for you. Great plans. Your raw potential, with the strength of a demon behind it, would be unstoppable. I can do that. I can give you power and a new life. I don't think your opinion matters. That is what I've decided, and that is what will be done. Fight, if you must. It will just make my victory all the sweeter.
Maker. I'm too old for this. But I am alive, and that is something to be thankful for. My friend, the Circle owes you its thanks. Come. The Templars await. We shall let them know that the tower is once again ours. I'll need you to guide me down the stairs. Curse whoever insisted the Circle be housed in a tower.
Irving? Maker's breath. I did not expect to see you alive.
It is over, Gregor. Aldred is dead.
Aldred tortured these mages, hoping to break their wills and turn them into abominations. We don't know how many of them have turned.
What? Don't be ridiculous.
Of course he'll say that. He might be a blood mage. Don't you know what they did? I won't let this happen again.
I am the Knight Commander here, not you.
We will rebuild. The Circle will go on, and we will learn from this tragedy and be strengthened by it.
We have won back the tower. I will accept Irving's assurance that all is well.
But they may have demons within them, lying dormant, lying in wait.
Enough! I have already made my decision. Thank you. You have proven yourself a friend of both the Circle and the Templars. I promised you aid, but with the Circle restored, my duty is to watch the mages. They are free to help you, however. Speak to them. Yes, Irving. For now, I will have to oversee a sweep of the tower. There may be some survivors, and we should do our best to tend to them. Please excuse me. And Irving, it is good to have you back.
I'm sure we'll be at each other's throats again in no time.
I'm glad I'm still alive, but the Circle's future still remains to be seen.
Here we are, the tower in disarray, the Circle nearly annihilated. Oh, it could have been much, much worse. I am glad you arrived when you did. It's almost as though the Maker himself sent you. From what Gregor said, it seems that you came here seeking allies. The least we can do is help you against the Darkspawn. I would hate to survive this, only to be overcome by the Blight. Do not underestimate us. Even one mage will be a great help to you. You have my word. As first enchanter, the Circle will join the Gray Wardens in the fight. There is much to be done here, and I must go. You must forgive me for not being a proper host. When the time comes, we will stand beside you.
You really killed all those abominations? I didn't think it was possible. I thought we'd all die here. I'm sure you need supplies after that, don't you?
The Blight. How will you end it? Is that all? It is surrounded by an ocean of Darkspawn. How will you reach it? If you reach it, how will you slay it? You say you are a Gray Warden. I have heard stories of this order. Great strategists and peerless warriors. That is what we hear of the Wardens. So far, I am not impressed. Evidently not. It remains only to see what you are here for.
What? You found Flemeth's grimoire? Ever since we discovered the condition of the Mage's Tower, I had wondered if it might be recoverable, but I had yet to speak of it to you. How fortunate that you found it on your own. You have my thanks. I will begin study of the tome immediately. Oh, I don't know. That seems like a steep reward to ask for. You could be right. Let us test the theory. There. Compensation requested and provided. I do not intend to squander this opportunity to learn more than Flemeth wished me to know. This should be interesting. Yes? At times, perhaps. A world full of people and buildings and things was all very foreign to me. If I wished companionship, I ran with the wolves and flew with the birds. If I spoke, 'twas to the trees. For a time, but one can only remain a child for so long. I recall the first time I crept beyond the edge of the wilds. I did so in animal form, remaining in the shadows and watching these strange townsfolk from afar. I happened upon a noblewoman by her carriage, adorned in sparkling garments, the likes of which I had never before seen. I was dazzled. This, to me, seemed what true wealth and beauty must be. I snuck up behind her and stole a hand mirror from the carriage. 'Twas encrusted in gold and crystalline gemstones, and I hugged it to my chest with delight as I sped back to the wilds. She was not. Flemeth was furious with me. I was a child and had not yet come into my full power, and I had risked discovery for the sake of a pretty bauble. To teach me a lesson, Flemeth took the mirror and smashed it upon the ground. I was heartbroken. And a foolish one. Flemeth was right to break me of my fascination. Beauty and love are fleeting and have no meaning. Survival has meaning. Power has meaning. Without those lessons, I would not be here today, as difficult as they might have been. Do I not? I am still an apostate mage, even if I have left the wilds. The Darkspawn are yet undefeated. No, there is much that remains. To return to your original question, perhaps my time in the wilds was indeed lonely, but such was how it had to be. I find myself at times wondering what might have become of the girl with the beautiful golden mirror, but such fantasies have no place amidst reality. Yes? So, full of questions, are you? You are very cute to ask so many questions. And I am glad you are so glad. My mother has been hunted from time to time, yes, by Templar fools like Alistair, which should tell you how successful they generally were. Flemeth made a bit of a game of it, in fact. The Templars would come again, and she would look at me and smile and say that the fun was to begin once more. I am unsure. I was too young to understand, and perhaps 'twas bravado on Flemeth's part, or perhaps she was merely amused. I will never know. Flemeth would warn them, once. 'Twas a warning they inevitably failed to heed. And then the true game began. Often Flemeth would use me as bait, a little girl to scream and run and lure the Templars deeper into the wilds and to their doom. Sometimes, eventually. Thankfully, the wilds is a vast place. Once they found us, Flemeth would simply move us elsewhere, and we would be lost within the forest once again. I did not understand the danger we faced until I was much older. I had never heard of apostates or maleficarum. Perhaps they did. Still, I do not begrudge them doing what they believe is necessary. The Chantry sees any mages not leashed to the circle of magi as apostates, and apostates could become maleficarum, evil mages that resort to blood magic and become demon-enslaved abominations. It may even be true. Still, those of us who prefer freedom see no reason to submit. Oh, I hope you are not simply being agreeable. It would be a refreshing change. Enough of this talk. Let us return to the task at hand. Yes? So, full of questions, are you? Why do you ask me such questions? I do not probe you for pointless information, do I? Beg pardon, then, while I jump for joy. What is it you asked if I grew up in the wilds? A curious question. Where else would you picture me? For many years it was simply Flemeth and I. The wilds and its creatures were more real to me than Flemeth's tales of the world of man. In time, I grew curious. I left the wilds to explore what lay beyond, never for long. Brief forays into a civilized wilderness. For the most part, Flemeth taught me well. For all that I had been taught, however, the truth of the civilized lands proved to be overwhelming. I was unfamiliar with so much. So confident and bold was I, yet there was much that Flemeth could never have prepared me for. Equal parts daring and foolhardy, perhaps. Only once was I accused of being a witch of the wilds, and that by a chastened who happened to be traveling with a merchant caravan. He pointed and gasped and began shouting in his strange language, and most assumed he was casting some curse upon me. I acted the terrified girl, and naturally, he was arrested. Men are always willing to believe two things about a woman. One, that she is weak, and two, that she finds him attractive. I played the weakling and battered my eyelashes at the captain of the guard. Child's play. The point being that I was able to move through human lands fairly easily. Whatever humans think a witch of the wild looks like, 'tis not I. Not that I did not have trouble. There are things about human society which have always puzzled me, such as the touching. Why all the touching for a simple greeting? At least with that sort of touching, I would have been able to intuit the intent with far greater ease. There were many nuances that Flemeth could never tell me of. When to look into another's eyes, how to eat at a table, how to bargain without offending. None of these things I knew. I still do not understand it all, truth be told, but then I gave up long ago any hope of doing so. When I returned to the wilds last, I swore to Flemeth that I had no intention of leaving again. Yes? Let's ignore the entire Darkspawn threat in the presence of a simpleton as your only other Grey Warden ally, then. Not that I lack appreciation for the intent of your comment. Thank you. Well, let's get on with it before the ground opens up and swallows us, yes? Yes? So, full of questions, are you? Well, that depends, does it not? What does she seem to be? Sometimes I do wonder the very same thing. Tell me, how much do you know of the tale? The one that the chastened still tell of my mother, to frighten them into obedience. No doubt such a tale has mutated much over time and telling. I can relay what Flemeth once told me herself, and you can decide whether or not 'tis the truth, if you desire. As the tale is sung by the bards, there was a time when Flemeth was young and beautiful, a fair lass in a land of barbarian men, the desire of any who saw her. Many centuries before this land was even named Ferelden. The tales say that Flemeth fell in love with Osen the Bard and fled the castle of her husband, the Dreadlord Conabar, and that he swore vengeance for her infidelity. In truth, my mother claims that 'twas Osen who was her husband, and Conabar the jealous lord who looked on from afar. Lord Conabar approached young Osen and offered him wealth and power in exchange for his lovely wife, and Osen agreed. The life of a bard is a poor one, and love fades in the wake of hunger. 'Twas Flemeth who suggested the arrangement. All would have been well had Lord Conabar kept his end of the bargain. But he was a foul man who bargained with coin he did not possess. Osen was led off to a field and slain, left for dead. Flemeth spoke to the spirits and learned of the deed, and swore revenge. That was not the point. Conabar had no honor, so she would not have him. Flemeth begged the spirits to aid her, and 'twas they who slew Conabar. The demon the legend tells of came later. Lord Conabar's allies chased Flemeth, you see, chased her to the wilds, and there she hid. There she found the demon, and he made her strong. The legends all speak of the great hero Cormac, he who defeated Flemeth and her great army when she invaded the lowlands centuries later. All lies. You would be surprised at how little my mother cares for what I or others think of her past. The truth of the matter is that there was never an invasion. As Flemeth tells it, the Chastened never raised an army under her banner, and she never fought with any warrior named Cormac. Cormac led a brutal civil war against his own people, and later claimed it was to vanquish evil that had taken root amongst the lords. Thus, he was hailed a hero. Flemeth was only attached to the legend much later. Perhaps 'twas due to the Great War with the Chastened that eventually came, but Mother claims not to know how it began. Flemeth tells it with far more embellishment than I, but you are welcome. Dare I ask of your own mother? Few are abominations of legend, 'tis true, but I find myself curious nevertheless. Ah, then you have my sympathies for what it is worth. Which is very little, I am certain. It matters not. Let us move on. Yes? We're in camp, so 'tis as good a time as any. What's this? 'Tis a rather odd discussion you seem to desire, leaning in so closely. Not unless you stop. Tis cold in my tent, all alone. So you shall come to my tent? But whatever shall we do in that tiny little space together while we wait for it to warm? Good. Then let us waste no more time with foolish talk. I see the stories they tell of Gray Warden endurance are not exaggerated. Indeed there are. The unanswered question, of course, is whether the endurance exists because of the taint within you, or because the Grey Wardens are by nature so very healthy. I enjoy the thought that 'tis a little of both. Natural prowess, driven by a darker side. That is entirely up to you. Simply know that I have no designs on your independence. I wish only to do what I desire, and if that coincides with what you desire, then so be it. And should you decide not to continue our misadventure, then so be it. Very simple, is it not? I do like to keep it simple. Just for you, of course. Come then, let us be off before the others begin to stare. We're in camp, so 'tis as good a time as any. Perhaps? Shall I consult my capricious nature and divine an answer for you? I am to be indulged. How exciting! Let me think. Very well. It shall be as you wish, voracious as your appetite may be.